We got both tackles back, and that's a premium. That's a plus for us there. I think Luke Bowenko, and not going through spring practice, that our best lineup may be Bowenko at center, Cascarano and Mahalik at guard, because both of those guys have played in college football games. They're both bigger, older players. So instead of trying to put too much on Burbank's plate, have a veteran Bowenko who played, and then surround him inside with Mahalik and Cascarano, which guys have played in games for us.
Bowenko's kind of been overshadowed by the Moses and Bushi. Do you see him as his tweets indicate he's a very clever guy and a leader?
His tweets, yeah. No, he's this guy played with shoulder injuries last year that required him to get 2 shoulder operations this year. Every time I came into work in the morning, he was in the training room getting rehab, and he's about 100% right now. So I think he just adds another level of toughness that you want your guys up front to have, and it's been a benefit for us, him having played guard, both guards, and be able to snap the ball and be a center. Our center is going to have to make the declaration of the mic and the protections and things like that, and I think, I know Luke is smart enough to do that, but in his own right, he's a gifted player in his own right, and we're glad to have him.
What do you expect out of Moses this year?
Hey, Jerry, where you been? Playing golf?
He was in a playoff at the golf course.
Playoff? I think, Morgan has come in and understood that last season might not have been his best season on the field, and so he changed the way his body looked. He lost about 30 pounds. If you look at him now, he's leaner than what he was before, 350. But I think he's taken hold to the identity of how you play is what people think of you. And that freshman All-American year, that's gone. Sophomore year, no accolades, I believe. I don't think he was mentioned on anything. And not that he was looking to, but the fact that he's got to play and raise his level up to the level of expectations that he put on himself when he said he wanted to come here. That was to be an All-American, a first-rounder. Well, this season will predicate a lot of things going into his senior season, or how he finishes up this season as to where he's going to be. So he is. I think he's taken the understanding of he has to take his game to another level. And when a big guy like that loses 30+ pounds, and can drive by McDonald's and not go to order a number 6 and supersize it, I think that he's really getting it now. So I'm excited and anxious about seeing him play.
You brought Clifton along pretty slowly last year. If he continues to improve and merits more carries, is it a challenge finding lots of work for Parks, Jones, and Clifton? There's only so many carries to go around.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a good problem to have. It's always, when you have good players, you try to put them in position to do the things that they do well. That's why Clifton, will maybe returning kickoffs or things like that. And he's been in a couple games like that. That's one of the strengths of the offense is have all the guys that touched the ball and ran the ball last year basically back. From Perry to Parks to Khalid Shepard to Clifton. And trying to find ways to get them the ball is not only in the personnel grouping that you put in, but also in some of the kicking game elements.
Do you worry about rhythm at all in that context of the game?
No, as far as those guys, if you ask them, they're really good friends and they hang out with one another. They're selfless players, and when you look at the size backs that we have, really the only one with size is kind of Clifton, and normally through the course of a college season, a smaller type back, might sustain, some sort of injuries because of just the amount of hits that they get. But we're trying to complement each other in what they can do, their skill level, and trying to put them in positions by including the special teams, maybe put 2 tailbacks in the game at one time rather than a traditional fullback, tailback. Try to do things like that to try to give them opportunities to touch the ball, because again, all of them played in games last year and touched the ball and did pretty good job.
I think you said earlier that, I want to clarify, Michael Rocco would go into, did you say the season or go into preseason camp number one.
No, Mike is our starting quarterback going into camp. He is our number one quarterback.
So,
and everyone else behind him. You know, David's been in there. David knows the scheme and the system. The first part of pre-camp is to find out how much Philip knows, how much he can recall, how much he can, you know, what he can do from our system and our scheme. You know, we call a lot of plays at the line of scrimmage, so the first couple of practices, the evaluation will be important to see what he can do. You know, what his aptitude level is and his capability. So, you know, there's no determination made at the end of the spring, at the beginning of the season as far as who is the guy. But I know that all of them will be looked at and you know, see what they can do. And hopefully provide some sort of opportunities for us to win games.
have you ever seen a situation where a guy went into the camp number one and didn't start the season?
I don't know. I can't recall if that's happened outside of an injury occurring or something like that. But again, as you remember when we first got here, you know, we had a quarterback, Mark Verica, was a fifth-year senior, and no other quarterback on the roster had gone in the game. And now we get to this point where now it's like you got too many quarterbacks, you got too many good quarterbacks, you know. So I'd rather have this issue to deal with than the latter, than talking about who's going to get in the game and earn some game time playing experience. So it's a good problem to have. You know, Michael has been very mature about it. You would think so after being a guy that's been here 3 years. He welcomes the fact that, you know, there's skills and talent level of a lot of players that are coming into our program. And if they make us better, they make us better. If they help us win, then they help us win. And it makes the competition better. And he's prepared. He said in the past, he's prepared to raise his level of competition to show that he's the guy.
Have you ever thought of using both quarterbacks either in the same game, depending on who the opposition is,
Well, we did that early, sir, with Michael Rocco and David Wofford. We did that early, but it's hard to say right now until we start practicing. Our first practice is on the 6th, and then until we see the skill level and what we're asking, what each guy can do, then we'll answer that question. But you know, you're always trying to find talented players to play for you and get them in the game some kind of way, and that'll be part of the evaluation, not just for them. As I said before, we talked about running backs, getting 2 tailbacks in the game, you know, maybe even a third tailback. You know, Coach Laser, Bill, and I have talked about being creative with formations and some of the things that we do. And when you have guys that are talented like that, Darius Jennings, Dominic Terrell, E.J. Scott, you know, Kevin Parks, when you have talented guys like that, it's our job to find ways to utilize their, you know, their skill level and what they can do for us.